Probably I'll sue her. I'd like to take some money out of her fat ass pocket.
I think he's the worst thing that ever happened to the United States.
Yes, indeed. In our featured viral clip of the day, Donald Trump's arch enemy and ambassador of ill will, fresh from the Emerald Isle, Roseanne O'Donnell, just posted her Emerald City rebuttal musical reaction to Trump's dreadful attempt at stand-up during the White House Correspondents' Dinner last week. Well, as you're about to see, Rosie's clever song-making will no doubt get under Trump's mottled, disease-festering skin. Let's just say it lands somewhere over the rainbow. Hey, welcome to Occupy Democrats, and please hit that subscribe button if you've noticed something absolutely fabulous is going on in the manosphere.
Jet boy, jet girl.
Testosterone, check. Okay, so many things like that absolutely irritate Donald Trump to our collective delight. Now, no one does it better than, well, Jimmy Kimmel or Rosie O'Donnell. Now, here's a little setup for Rosie's August return to TV, hosting Jimmy Kimmel's show. On the other side of this, Rosie O'Donnell's parody post from yesterday. But please don't share this with Donald because, well, it's an earworm you're going to be singing all day. Now, first, let's check out this scintillating repartee over at Fox about Rosie's return. This is just like being a fly on the roundtable at the Algonquin Club in the 20s. Check out these geniuses.
I don't think she's going to do well. She'll probably get ratings because she's a little bit crazy, and crazy people are interesting. And she's always been a little bit crazy, and that's why her show worked when she had the morning show. And you know what's interesting is that I can remember back in the early 2000s, she was one of the first ones who was just putting stuff out there. She would read her emails on little videos, and she would post them on her blog. And you know who would respond to her by email? Donald Trump. And they had this war going on. And I thought, boy, these two, they're really out there. Like, it was the early days of the internet, and they were both in it. You would think she would have respect for him because, people who are battling with each other, they end up respecting each other. She has got to learn to respect Trump because he's not like her, but he does have similar qualities.
Maybe this is why ABC is welcoming her. That's a ratings drive. They agree.
Well, I'm sure it will get ratings because people just watch that show because they want to send a message to President Trump. So who better to have on than Rosie? Can I just say, what a gig, right, for Jimmy Kimmel. You have an entire team of writers, right? So they write everything for you anyway, and then you get to take 2 months off and have other people host your show. That's quite the gig there. And they complain like he's the victim. He always wants to be a victim. You're taking 2 months off, bro, and other people write your stuff to begin with.
Yeah, so says the Dorothy Parker of Fox Television. Man, who is that dingbat? I guess it doesn't matter. Donald Trump, for sure, will not enjoy our featured viral clip of the day. It's because it was inspired by his abominable comedy bombing at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, just in case you missed seeing one of America's sharpest, funniest men show off that big comedy brain of his, well, help yourself.
Here comes the Prince of Puns, folks. The unknown.
It's great to be back at a place that I know very well because I built it. And I'm very proud of it because I built it for $2.9 billion less than the Federal Reserve building, which is a lot smaller, by the way. Figure that one out. You have a nice position. You're at CNN Fake News. You should be a happy person. So smile, Caitlin, just smile. But we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way, for those few people that want to hear that. Most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon.
That's right, Jagger. Caitlin Collins says, hold my beer, Donald. Hey, I'm sorry that we had to put you through that witless, humorless excuse for comedy, but now we all feel revolted as Rosie O'Donnell, who brilliantly took to social media yesterday in our viral video post of the day. It's a sing-along. Everybody join in.
Hey everybody, it's Saturday all day, as my Nana would say. Very tired from doing my one-woman show here in New York City, but when I got home last night, I watched a review of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and I wrote this little song, a parody from The Wizard of Oz for our loving president. Ready? His approval rate is 30. His diaper's always dirty. I think the guy's insane. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He ain't no stable genius, got a teeny tiny, but he doesn't have a brain. The reflecting pool is green. His reasons were obscene. It's him we all do blame. Da-da-da-da-da-da. He grew a magic ear, stole billions in a year, 'cause he doesn't have a brain. Oh, I can't tell you why. Some people think he's smart. All he does is lie and cheat and steal, and he's asleep when meeting starts. He still dreams that he is Putin, while our country he is looting. On humanity, a stain. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All he does is cause us trauma, 'cause he'll never be Obama, 'cause he doesn't have a brain. I hope you enjoy that, Donald. That's for you.
All he does is cause us trauma, 'cause he'll never be Obama. Man, that's catchy. So let's leave you on an upbeat note, with Trump's object of his intense jealousy showing us exactly what we've lost under the orange stain. Please like, share, and take care out there. Right, Jair?
Crossed up. Don't get crossed up. Don't get crossed. He cool and we love him, but he can't attack me.
Hey! Look at these all-stars. I see you, Reggie Wilson.
What an honor to meet him. My hands were getting a little bit sweaty, and I don't really get nervous for anybody, but that's somebody like just his presence commands a room.
All of you are extraordinary, and I could not be bigger fans.
I got a little starstruck. I was like, and he knew exactly who she was.
How are you, Angel? Michelle enjoyed talking to you.
I know, yes.
How are you, Paige? You're playing great.
Thank you. And when I shook his hand, I gained like infinity aura points. Like, that's the man right there.
This doesn't look like the toughest practice I've ever seen, but it's All-Star break. Y'all aren't supposed to be working too hard.
Hi, I'm Kiki.
Hi, Kiki.
I'm also number 44, so.
It's a great number.
It's a great number.
I hope you guys have a wonderful time this weekend. Congratulations. Everybody say cheese, come on.
Donald Trump went to Michigan yesterday ready to bask in the glow of Midwest rural redneck rapture for every lie he repeats ad nauseum. And sure, it seemed like it was going to roll that way, but if the Detroit Lions teaches you anything, it's to never bet on what's going to happen in Michigan. One brave Michigander totally threw Trump off his game by reminding everyone what Trump really is. And the footage is both hysterically funny and completely sad that anyone still buys Trump's BS. Now, as I reported on yesterday, Trump was not there for the purpose of a rally. He was on a twofold mission, all of which was to help Haley Stevens defeat the Democratic frontrunner for Senate, Abdul El-Sayed. They want the weakest candidate to win in August so the Republican can trounce on them in November. Trump wanting to talk about the auto industry was an excuse to bring up the topic that Stevens worked with Obama to save the auto industry. And seriously, what else was a Michigan congressional representative going to do? Let the auto industry die? Well, that was only the first part of the mission. The second part of the mission was to eat up the news cycle so that few people would be watching the El-Sayed-Stevens debate. Trump and his team knew she would be a disaster, so they wanted as few people watching as possible. They didn't want people to see her saying stupid things like this.
Because I'm going to tell you what kind of politician I am. I am Michigan's manufacturing geek, okay? I have visited hundreds of small to mid-sized manufacturing shop floors. I have operated CNC machines in my life.
Or have El-Sayed scorching her with statements like this.
When you ask $60 million to come into a race for you and then say that somehow you're electable, I think you don't quite understand what electability means. If you need a monopoly can't be elected on your own terms. So I would just say that you should probably, if you really want to beat Mike Rogers, find the candidate who is electable without having to ask for a $60 million crutch to do it. 4 times voted to raise ICE funding, voted to thank ICE, in fact. So this is the same kind of DC hypocrisy, I hate to say it, that we often see. Say one thing in front of a camera, do another thing. I said that we need to abolish ICE. ICE is not about immigration. ICE is not about the southern border. We can have a safe and secure southern border. We can also enforce immigration policy. But ICE is not about that. ICE is about normalizing paramilitary force on our streets.
They wanted all eyes on Trump, and the plan seemed to be working. They had the CEO the best advertising Ford Motor Company could ever get.
Today marks our first presidential visit to the Milford Proving Ground. And it is my honor to welcome all of you, including our distinguished guests, and especially President Donald J. Trump.
Then Trump took the stage to try and work the old Trump magic. He ended up pooping his pants instead, which is nothing new for Trump. Watch as a Michigan man does what all Michigan men are born and raised to do, sound the BS alarm.
Causing tremendous problems for your jobs. But now all of that is changing because I placed historic tariffs on foreign producers and manufacturers, including a 25% tariff on foreign automobiles, something that no other president had the courage to ever do. He's a communist. He's a communist.
Yeah, that's right. He heckled Trump by repeatedly calling him a pedophile protector. And in the process, just single-handedly invented the new Democratic strategy for every rally Trump holds from now until eternity. Get people to these rallies and call out the orange landmass as a pedophile protector. Haunt him wherever he goes. The Supreme Court may be in his pocket, but don't let him go anywhere without facing the other Supreme Court, the Court of Public Opinion. And here's how cynically evil Trump is. You see him smirking and laughing at the way the ignorant crowd actually bought into the communist thing and just started chanting USA. It's the worst example of groupthink, and Trump revels in it because it's the only thing to save him. Well, it worked last night, but if this continues like it should, it's not going to work for long if people keep showing up and heckling him over it. It's not only good strategy, it will not only knock him off his game, it's what that pedophile protector deserves. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.
Donald Trump did not simply change American politics, he helped turn politics into a permanent reality show where outrage becomes currency, fear becomes strategy, and personal branding is sold as leadership. His supporters describe him as a strong leader, direct, fearless, politically incorrect, and willing to fight the system. But look beyond the image, and a very different picture emerges, one where self-promotion often overshadows public service, chaos replaces strategy, and personal loyalty matters more than national unity. Trump's greatest political weapon has never been policy. It has been narrative. He creates a feeling before presenting a fact. He builds a perception before explaining a solution. He identifies an enemy, magnifies the threat, and then presents himself as the only person powerful enough to stop it. That is what makes his political model so effective and so dangerous. When a leader becomes more focused on emotionally triggering a crowd than responsibly guiding a country, democracy stops being a serious discussion. It becomes a performance. Trump's formula is remarkably consistent. First, take an issue and present it as an extreme crisis. Second, declare yourself the only possible savior. Third, describe every criticism, investigation, or institutional challenge as part of a conspiracy against you. It is a strange combination of dominance and victimhood. On one side, Trump presents himself as the strongest, smartest, most successful, and most fearless person in the room. On the other, whenever he faces criticism, he portrays himself as the victim of an unfair system. He is always winning and always being attacked. That contradiction is not a weakness in his brand. It is the brand. The real problem is not that Trump is controversial, Democracies have always produced controversial leaders. The deeper problem is that he often turns controversy into a substitute for governance. When every day brings a new insult, confrontation, accusation, or outrage cycle, the public gradually loses focus on the issues that actually shape their lives: the economy, healthcare, foreign policy, public institutions, the rule of law. All of these become secondary to one question: what did Trump say today? This is also the key to understanding his relationship with the media. Trump attacks the media, but he also depends on it. He condemns it while mastering its incentives. He understands that outrage generates attention, and attention creates power. A calm policy announcement may receive limited coverage. A provocative statement can dominate television, social media, and public conversation for days. So conflict is not merely a side effect of Trump's politics. Conflict is often the engine. He does not simply enter the news cycle, he designs it. Trump's language has also changed the tone of public debate. When a national leader repeatedly relies on insults, mockery, demeaning nicknames, and personal attacks, the consequences do not remain inside campaign rallies. That language spreads. It lowers the standard of public communication. It teaches people that disagreement does not need to be answered with evidence. It can be answered with humiliation. Debate becomes bullying. Criticism becomes betrayal. Opponents become enemies. And once that behavior is normalized at the highest level of politics, it becomes easier for society to imitate it everywhere else. Trump's style can energize supporters, but energizing a movement is not the same as stabilizing a country. Rally performance and statecraft are two very different skills. A leader can be loud without being visionary, entertaining without being responsible, dominant without being disciplined. Trump's political image often blurs these distinctions, encouraging people to mistake aggression for strength and attention for achievement. Another major feature of his politics is fear-based mobilization. Migrants, journalists, political opponents, bureaucrats, courts, elections, and public institutions can all be framed as existential threats. The message is rarely that the country faces a difficult problem requiring careful solutions. The message is that the country is under attack and only one leader can save it. Fear is politically powerful because fear simplifies the world. It divides society into heroes and villains, patriots and traitors, winners and enemies. But fear may mobilize voters without healing a nation. It may win an election without building trust. It may create loyalty without producing unity. That is why critics argue that the problem is not only Trump's personality, it is the effect that personality has on democratic culture. When personal loyalty becomes more important than institutional responsibility, the system weakens. When truth becomes optional, accountability becomes impossible. When leadership is measured by domination rather than discipline, democratic institutions begin to look like obstacles instead of safeguards. Trump has long presented himself as an outsider. But being an outsider is not automatically the same as being better. Challenging a broken system can be valuable. The real question is what that challenge produces. Did public trust improve? Did political polarization decline? Did institutions become stronger? Did citizens gain greater confidence in democracy? Or did the noise become so overwhelming that the country felt even more divided? Many of the frustrations behind Trump's support are real. Economic insecurity is real. Anger toward political elites is real. Distrust of the media is real. The feeling of being ignored by powerful institutions is real. Those concerns should not be dismissed. But real frustration does not make every loud answer correct. Not every angry politician is an honest politician. Not every anti-establishment slogan serves the public interest. And not every leader who attacks the system is capable of improving it. Trump is not only a politician, he is also a media product. He understands headlines, conflict, branding, repetition, and spectacle. He knows how to transform criticism into publicity and publicity into political energy. He creates confrontations that keep him at the center of the conversation, even when that conversation is negative. In that sense, his power does not come only from governance. A major part of it comes from controlling attention. And whenever Trump dominates public debate, the available space for serious discussion becomes smaller. Complex issues are reduced to personality battles. Policy becomes secondary to loyalty. Political disagreement becomes a referendum on one individual. Supporters defend the personality, opponents attack the personality, and democracy becomes trapped between a personality cult and a personality backlash. The most important question, therefore, is not simply who supports Trump and who opposes him. The real question is what kind of politics society is willing to normalize. Do we want a political culture where division is a strategy, outrage is a currency, and accountability is treated as weakness? Has the standard of leadership fallen so low that commanding a camera is considered more important than commanding a government? Can voters still distinguish between performance and professionalism, between confidence and competence, between political theater and responsible leadership? The bottom line is simple. Trump's political model can produce short-term excitement, but excitement is not stability. It can energize supporters without elevating the national conversation. It can dominate headlines without solving the problems behind them. Because leadership is not simply about dominating a room. It is about providing direction, maintaining discipline, accepting responsibility, and strengthening the institutions that will remain long after one individual leaves power. That is why criticism of Trump is no longer only about one party, one election, or one ideology. It raises a much larger question. When power becomes personal theater, when fear becomes political fuel, and when attention becomes more valuable than accountability, what price does democracy eventually pay?